light flashed on and off. And the audience can't tell him anything that explains it logically because they never see the existence of it. So he will genuinely, or she will believe that they've experienced something magical, something hypnotic, and the people that witnessed it will believe, as they're saying that this happened to them, that they must have experienced hypnosis but come out of it. So yet again, it's not your fault that they came out of it and you still end up looking good, which is the key. If you end up looking good, then the venue will rebook you and you get paid at the end of the night, and little small matters like that. So, the drop back induction, which is the only other induction I would ever consider using on stage, and I don't use it that often these days, A, because it is potentially dangerous, not so much to the volunteers, as long as you do it right, more to you doing it. Long term, bloody back pain from the weight of lowering people to the floor, it's not ideal, but no. You alright? Yeah? Can I borrow you?
Yep.
Trust me, I've done this at least 5 times. No. Not that way, fantastic, okay. Obviously you get the benefit of feeling the disorientation and confusion, but just trust me, well, when I break it down afterwards, but what it would look like, normally face onto the audience, but this is so you can see better. Feet together, hands by your side, tilt your head well back, take a nice deep breath in through your nose, and then out through your mouth, in through your nose, and out through your mouth. I'm going to count backwards from 3 down to 1 on the count of 1, just so long as you keep your eyes tightly closed at all times, unless I say otherwise. And just so long as you continue breathing deeply and regularly, you'll feel yourself falling gently backwards into my arms. No, I'm not going to let you fall and hurt yourself. I'm just going to lay you down into a lovely, relaxing sleep-like state. As on 3, it's almost as though you can feel yourself falling gently backwards. 2. I won't let you fall and hurt yourself. You're just lowering into a lovely, relaxing state. And 1, falling back. Sleep. The deeper you go, the better you feel. Whatever deepness stuff you do, you know, when I lift up your arm, it won't bother you, worry you, or concern you. It just serves as a sign and a signal to go deeper. Lift up their arm, wiggle it around, drop it on the floor. Whatever, if it's a woman wearing a short skirt, take your jacket off and look as though you're about, put it over her legs so that we're hiding her modesty. I can't tell you to do the other guy because it's not mine to give away. Up your stand. Ooh. Well, to be honest, it isn't the person who claims that I stole it off them skag either. Because Robert Halpin was doing it at Glasgow Pavilion. The idea is that woman's fallen back, short skirts, so you look round like, oh dear, protect her modesty, go and get a jacket. And everyone thinks, what a nice, caring person, you just come up and drop it on her head. Yeah, Robert Halpin did that. I've got a video of him doing it at Glasgow Pavilion Theatre. So, I don't know why I sent you back, sorry. Can you come back, please? Thank you. Yeah. Would it be fair to say, because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but when you end up with your head tilted back in that kind of position, and I'm not going to tilt it anymore because the level I had yours tilted, if there was nobody supporting me, I'd fall over. It does feel a bit unusual, doesn't it? Because it's not really the normal kind of position you would be studying. Okay, so it's fair to say it feels a bit unusual. It's also fair to say, I think that it is a bit borderline shit scary.
Yeah, well, it's you start to see things when even though your eyes are closed, you start to.
Which is partly to do with the fact that your head's in this back position, but it's because you're breathing in and out. You've told them to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. It ever so slightly hyperventilates them, not to a dangerous level, although I advise you learn first aid just in case. And it does create that kind of almost dizzy, light-headed feeling, would that be fair to say?
And you can feel the breathing going slower as well with your pace.
Well, partly I slow down my speech, as you witnessed, and when you watch the videos about when I send you the links, you can see that. But the other thing is, because I've got my foot firmly flat against the back of his feet. So we're now in a pivot position. Okay, that's stage 1, safely in. My right arm is going to go around his right shoulder, well, onto it. My elbow is against his right shoulder. So he could perceive at this moment that it's my hand on his arm. So it's going to be a bit, what the hell's going on? When I suddenly go, head back, eyes closed. hang on, where did that hand come from? I thought it was on my shoulder, but it's still there, but there's disorientation and confusion. That's stage 1 happening. Stage 2, I've now got him at... If I let go now, he'd just drop. I promise you I'm not going to. My elbow, though, is keeping him up here, as well as the rest of my body on his left-hand side, so we can't go anywhere. My arm now goes underneath his left arm pit. If I was to let go now, I'm in a position where I can hold him. I'll demonstrate like that so he's not going to fall over. Because I've got firm and steady there. But we'll go back in. So it's suddenly in, head back, eyes closed. All happening at once. And then we go in with this and we go, take a nice deep breath in. And I lift his arm up through your nose. And as I say, out through your mouth and he breathes out, I let that go down. In through your nose, out through your mouth. So we've got this gentle rocking going on. So now he's at a funny angle backwards. His head's back in a position that's not normal. My fingers are roughly on this psychic third eye area between the head here. And I'm not going to pull back here hard because then people can resist. The gentlest, lightest touch, like when we did the seesaw. As I count backwards gently, I'm moving my fingers very, very gently back towards the top of his head. So it acts as a non-verbal, and they tend to move their head in that direction. Which means he ends up even more in the position that if I took this elbow away, he'd fall. And then the rest of it's timing it, 3, 2, keeping your eyes tightly closed at all times unless I say otherwise. And the moment I'm about to say 1, on that very moment, and on 1, falling back, I start saying falling back, 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 but I lift up slightly here so it's even more off balance, and this foot's going to come out, and at the same time, and sorry I can't really show you this particularly slowly because from health and safety, but this arm is remaining where it is, this foot's going to come out at exactly the same time as this elbow goes up and the hand gently comes off the top of the head and comes down to go under there, so it ends up being 3, 2, 1, and sleep, 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 sleep. Lowering them down to the floor, which is better for your back and safer for them. You will see it up you get. Round of applause for being brave and allowing me to throw you around the floor. Well, gently lower you actually, but there is that element of what the hell's going on. There's so much happening at once, isn't there? And that's
you feel secure because you can feel you in the back up here, and you feel the security with your arm under there. So you do sort of half feel secure. It's a bit trust, isn't it?
And the thing is, if they trust you to let you do that to them, they're going to jump around and play a plastic guitar. I very rarely do that now because it is bad for me. That's not that bad. But if you look at some of the videos on my shows on YouTube or on the download package you've got, look at other people, even look at videos of Dave online. I know for a fact he's a bugger for this sometimes with the drop back, and I've seen the videos. I thought that's how I used to do it, and that's how I knack my back up. I mean, he'll literally, his arm will come down, it's one arm, and he's lowering them down with one arm like that to the floor. So all the weight's going on this arm, thus it's going across your back and causing long-term back problems in the future on this side of your back. So for those reasons alone, that's why I now do it this slightly more convoluted way, so I've got the weight evenly distributed between both arms. It doesn't look as dynamically wonderful, I totally admit that, but it is a damn sight better for your back.
Very
Yeah,
effective, isn't it?
I do it that way as well. Sometimes, if they're really big, I'll do that.
Right, well, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But I mean, I saw one of Dave's videos the other day and I thought, I did love doing it when it was that way, and it does look bloody fantastic, just going through. And, well, you wake up, well I did, I used to wake up in the morning after a show and I was like, hey, and I'd be walking around like a cripple for the best part of the day, and I thought, not good. Your other option, if you can afford it, but not, most people haven't got this luxury, is to have an on-stage assistant dressed in black like stage crew, who's strong, maybe a bit of eye candy for the women, who knows, who you can have stand behind them, and you, rather than going, I'm going to, tilt you back, you do the patter on the mic with your stage hand. You've taught them how to, so as you say, head back, eyes closed, they suddenly get that, and you do the patter, and ultimately they do the bloody lowering down, and they can have the back problems. Or the other option is just don't use that method. But as I did kind of mention it earlier in the day, I thought it would be remiss of me not to mention it now and point out that it's the same psychology. There's so many different things going on. They think you're touching their back, but then suddenly you're touching their head. But how can that be? Because your other hand's just gone underneath here. And then suddenly they're breathing in through the nose and getting dizzy, and then suddenly they're shut, and then suddenly they're on the floor and it's what they're flipping at. It's sensory overload, the same thing. Does it make sense? Yeah? Any questions at this point?
I do.
Yeah, go on.
When they're on the floor, I presume then you get them to do things. So how do you get them from floor to here? I mean, do you just tell them to stand up?
Okay. You actually know the answer to this. And I'm going to answer it, but you already know it, and you'll see that you already know it because you know more than you think you know. Because we've already covered it. They're arguably now hypnotised, so we've got a choice. We either wake this person up now, or we do a load of people, so the stage is full of people, and then say I'm talking to you all. In a few moments' time, when I tap you on the head, you'll open your eyes. You'll go and sit down in a chair, and the very moment, the very second I click my fingers like that and say sleep, you'll instantly close your eyes, let your head fall forward. It's simple as that.
So that's just for effect, really, for the audience to show how.
Well, yeah,
you can do it.
but at the beginning, arguably, that is your induction, if you choose to use that. But by the same token, yes, I have on occasion where I think the audience, I've maybe used the seesaw, so the people are, let's say, hypnotised, for want of a better word. They're being compliant, they're doing the routines. And then I'll come to the end of a routine and I'll think, rather than just saying to this person, sleep, which obviously they've been told in advance means close your eyes and look like you're hypnotised, I might suddenly go up to somebody, walk behind them, hand over the head, and go, head back, eyes closed, and sleep, and lower them down to the floor. I know for a fact that they're going to close their eyes because they've already been conditioned. So it's not really an induction, it's just that trigger again, but to the audience it looks entirely different, which is a misconception people get. Oh, we hypnotise people in different ways. No, quite often he didn't. He did the seesaw and everyone else, and then later on in the show, at the end of this routine, he went to this person, remind me again, what's your name? Trevor, fantastic, you know what, thanks for being here tonight, nice deep breath in, and sleep. And he shook them by the hand and suddenly they went off into hypnosis. And then later on he went up to somebody and he said, look at my fingertip, okay? Very moment he taps you on the head, you'll just go to sleep. Boom! Tap them on the head and they suddenly go. And the audience perceive it as being a different way of hypnotising them. Because by that point they've forgotten the key fact right at the start of the show. You told them that for the rest of this evening, when you say sleep, as quickly as that they'll close their eyes, let the heavy head fall forward and re-enter this state and act that way. So it's actually not. Well, it looks impressive, but it isn't. If it seems like I'm standing here with a total disdain for comedy stage hypnotism as a form of live entertainment and saying that it's fundamentally shit and not at all impressive, it's because I am. And I genuinely believe there's people out there go, oh no, you've got to make it all about the volunteers on stage. Well, you do in the sense of getting them applause, wonderful, you're using your powers of mind to praise them. But no, there's only one fucking star on that stage. Me! They've come to see me. They might say they've come to see people, mate. They haven't. In my egotistical, fucked up world, they've come to see me. It's my fucking face on the poster, not these people, right? So, I am going to do daft things. And this actually helps your subjects be more responsive. You'll see on the live show videos, if you look at them, they're in the download pack. I will act as though I believe the scenario that the onstage person is hypnotised into thinking. Now, what this means is to the audience it looks as though I'm taking the piss out of this person and goading them to react more in that manner. To this person here, it makes them feel more at ease doing the stuff, because if the hypnotist is being a dick, I could be a dick. But the audience don't perceive it that way. They give you the full credit for this person then becoming more animated. So it can be as simple as, I'll give you a low-level example because everyone does this routine. So in a few moments' time, sleep. In a few moments' time when I awaken you, you'll come to the shocking realisation that whenever I give you the large pair of glasses, the magic X-ray specs, that's exactly what they are, the latest invention from Hong Kong. And whenever you look through these glasses, you see every member of the opposite sex, stark, bollock naked. no clothes on whatsoever, completely nude, you'll find it incredibly hilarious. Nod your head if you understand. In other words, are you going to do what I've told you to? Excellent, they nod their head, brilliant. Wake your way to rise and shine. Okay, Trevor, we've just got these in. I haven't got them with me. We'll take out big plastic glasses. Poundland sell them. Just got these glasses from Hong Kong, and I'll tell you what. Oh, yeah, and you put them on. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, there's some bloody good fucking women here, and I used to do, as you'll see. If you're easily offended, do not watch my shows. Seriously. Ken Webster, the chairman of the Federation of Ethical Stage Hypnotists, clearly stated, and he claims to be Britain's most outrageous hypnotist. Well, everyone does that uses that moniker. But he did say on the dark side of stage hypnosis. In reference to me, my former stage name of Alex Leroy. The trouble with Alex is he takes things just too far. Too far. So officially the chairman of FESH has said on television that I take things way too far, which means I officially must be the most outrageous hypnotist there is in England. The evidence is there on YouTube. So, yeah, don't watch them if you're easily offended. I come out with some very blue one-liner jokes then about the women I can see and what I'd get up to with them and what not, which generally for a chubby brown style audience makes, well, the women and the men laugh because, you know, it just does for that type of audience. So this guy's now also finding that quite amusing and thinking the hypnotist is, because he's not thinking, it's unlikely that this person, they might have deluded themselves into the idea that they're hypnotised and whatever you tell them they're going to do. But the chances are deep down they know that they're playing along on some level. But it's the perfect excuse to do it. And they'll be thinking in their head, well, the hypnotist, he's taking a piss as well. This is a great scam. The audience are really falling for this. Every time they don't get it, do they? And they feel like, although you've never said anything to them, you've not asked them to play along, well, not covertly, you have asked them to play along, but in full view of the entire audience, in what's known as a hypnotic induction process. Right? And it makes them feel more comfortable. So then when you take the glasses off and go, hey, come here, Trevor. Hey, come here. Pop them on, fella. Ooh, don't be too obvious. Come here. And you bring your... He's going to ham it up something buggery. He's going to be, you know. Now, all he's doing is looking through some giant glasses that look funny anyway, so that in itself gets visual humour. Well, that's all he's really doing, looking and making faces. But we can make it funny by saying, so I'll tell you what, do us a favour, my love, over there, yeah, you with the red hair, just stand up. Stand up, love, yeah. Trevor, just have a look over there, look at that, eh? Marks out of 10, eh? What would you give her? It doesn't matter what number he says, 10, 11, high number, low, they'll find it funny, either because they think it's an insult or he's feeling randy or whatever. Either way, it gets a guy, followed up with a really shit gag of me going, oh, personally, I'd give her 1. Shit gags, but for the right type of audience, and that's the key, choosing the right material for the right type of audience, clearly common sense involved there. Although there are no clean shows actually in the download package, I'm just thinking about it. Some of Chris Lee's example shows that I've got copyright on in the download package, if you're easily offended, are relatively clean. I'd probably suggest you don't watch any of mine if you're easily offended. Not so much because I want to get the people to do on stage, because there's not really any nudity in them anymore. I stopped doing that in the 90s. It was a dickhead thing to do. Shouldn't have done it. Took it way too far. I mean, the proper, no, basically a live sex show. Not good, not good. Don't do it. Don't.
Why did you do it?
Because I could.
Why did you stop?
Because I grew up, basically. Well, partly I grew up, partly it was pointed out to me that it would be classed as criminal assault. That was a large motivating factor, if I should be honest. And partly I stopped doing shows in Tenerife and abroad, where I could really get away with that. Things are somewhat a bit different in England. So, but you know what? Also a large element of just the fact that I grew up. You know, when I started doing stage hypnosis shows, I just turned 15. And then I got my television break, January 1993. They said I was 18 on Channel 4's The Word, but I wasn't, I was 17. They misinterpreted the 1952 Hypnotism Act and thought it said you had to be 18 to be a hypnotist, so they said I was. But it doesn't, it just says the volunteers have to be in England. Ironically, the hypnotist doesn't have to be. So I was actually 17, and I went on that, and after that show, I ended up with a residency at a nightclub in London. I ended up doing like Sunday Sport Page 3 Girl of the Year awards at Stringfellows. I ended up addicted to cocaine, alcoholic, sex addict, spending every penny I earned and more, and fucked my life up immensely. But that's an entirely different story. So yeah, then I grew up. Is the truth. So don't do it. You know, the truth of the matter is, it's far easier if you want to do a stage hypnosis show. It's far easier to sell tickets to a completely blue hypnosis show than it is for a clean one. However, it's a damn sight easier to get people to volunteer to take part in what's advertised as being a family-friendly show than it is for an adult show. Because the levels of, yeah, you are giving them an excuse to be an idiot, but the fact that, you know, they might check you out online and find out that you're going to have them dry humping an inflatable sex doll on stage or something, well, it's certainly a book me off volunteering. I've got to be brutally honest. And anyone with half an ounce of sense, frankly, will book off volunteering. So another reason why I stopped doing certain things was it became harder and harder to get volunteers because I was too notorious, and I ended up then suddenly all this shit happened with stage hypnosis that had nothing to do with me whatsoever, bloody ever. And the shit hit the fan in the start of January 1994, and Rupert Murdoch printed a story in the Sun saying I hypnotised women to get them into bed for sex against their will. I never said that to the journalist. I never, ever, ever said that. And neither did the glamour model who I'd paid to speak to the journalist who was giving the story that she had the best sex of her life under hypnosis. When it ended up in the Sun, it was I hypnotised women into sex against their will. They took a routine I did on stage where I made somebody believe that I was, you know, the favourite film star, and the more I click my fingers, the more they fall madly, passionately, deeply in love with me. They come over, start hugging, caressing me. I shouldn't have done, but quite often, if they were good looking, I did give them a right good tonguing. And as you'll see on the video, so I have to admit it now because you'll see it. And then I'd whisper in their ear, go on love, just move your head down your body, I'll say sleep shortly. When the head got to about here, I'd go sleep, and it gave the impression to the audience that if I'd not stopped her, she would have done something, which was never going to happen. And they took that, and they wrote it up as though that had happened in real life, and totally ignored what the glamour model had said about just having had the best sex. So then when that article went out, I had a slight technical hitch. I didn't know what I now know about the law. It turns out that you've only got 12 months to sue somebody for libel. After 12 months from the publication date, you have no legal recourse whatsoever. And unfortunately at the time I was a bit young, stupid, daft. So I didn't even contemplate going to a solicitor because it didn't enter my head that the fact the newspaper had printed cobblers, that I could do anything about it. So suddenly the shows that I had at the time, the majority of which ironically were family-friendly shows, not surprisingly all got cancelled. And my manager at the time said, it's going to be a long while, unless you change your name and have plastic surgery, it's going to be a long while before you get booked again. Unless it's purely for an advertised adults only show. So it's not an excuse, it's just how it happened. At the end of the day, it was my decision, but ultimately, rather than go bankrupt and not make any money, I chose the route of doing what the type of show that the newspaper accused me of, and then amplified it and made it even worse by writing a book on how to hypnotise women to get them into bed, because I figured it would sell well after what the Sun newspaper had said, and it did. Unfortunately, it added fuel to the fire and people misremember it, and apparently I'm the British cunt that ruined stage hypnosis for everyone in England, is what a lot of members of certain societies would say to you, when the truth is, I didn't hypnotise the person who died after a hypnosis show. It's just that I got caught up in all the fucking publicity, and they kept showing my face on the TV screen while they're talking about it on the 10 o'clock news and shit. And they were showing clips from my show when they're talking about some dickwart that had done something wrong. Everyone thought it was me. It wasn't. Anyway, end of rant, but it is all kind of relevant. So my message there from that rant is, the bit that you should take as valuable information is, for longevity of career, ease of career, avoidance of potential problems on all manner of levels, legal, ethical, moral, misunderstanding, every level you can think of, a clean to middle of the road sort of carry on humour to style. It's fine to tell a tell a bloke that when he wakes up he's lost his thingy. You say thingy, your thingy, your manhood's vanished. Use that kind of terminology. You can get away with that at a Holly Park these days because there's worse on telly. In truth, that's all I was doing, but instead of going a few months' time when you wake up, you'll realise your cock, your bellend's disappeared. Just change the 2 words. Suddenly, it seems way more terrible. It's the same bloody routine. So, yeah, keep it clean, I suppose. I'm really saying, in the middle of the road, you'll get more work in the long term. And also, if anyone's going to get booked for ridiculous money on the top show, I'd sooner it was me. Less people doing on the bar, frankly. Because the real truth is, there's not a lot of fucking work out there for stage hypnotists now. But the bright side of that is you can make a shitload of money doing group therapy sessions. Any more questions? Was it an element of today, or is it?
If you've got 6 people on stage,
yeah,
and you're working with two people at any moment in time, how long will the other 4 remain in that sleep position?
To be honest, I don't know is the answer. As long as they're prepared to carry on doing it. And I know that sounds like a cop-out, but look, I've never tried. I think the longest I probably left people for while a routine was going on was maybe 3.5 minutes of track of music at best. What I generally do, if there's going to be something involved with a couple of people here on stage, I will tend to say to them, sleep, 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 and go over to these people and go, wakey, wakey, rise and shine, you can just all watch this and enjoy. And then do the routine on them so they become like added members of the audience, and then afterwards we can get the comedy of going to them and going, you wouldn't do anything daft like that, would you? And invariably they'll say no, but knowing full well that when you say sleep, because they know that that's going to get a big laugh and make them feel good. So yeah, that's how I'd handle that. But any questions, if there's questions, or have I explained this so wonderfully, easily, well and clear that you get it, that the jigsaw slotted together, you see it genuinely is, honestly, sincerely, this bloody simple.
A lot of places I know say you've got to be a member of an organisation to be a stage hypnotist.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How would you get...
You get your download pack from the link that I've given you, and you study the transparency template videos that are on there that cover all the health and safety and laws for worldwide. And this is conditional, it's mentioned on the DVDs, the download videos. And you ensure that you've got the correct insurance in place. At which point, once you've got the correct insurance in place, and you've watched the transparency template, and you are therefore tacitly, because it says this on the videos, by doing what I'm about to say, legally agreeing that you will operate in a legal, lawful, safe, ethical manner, then you can print out your membership to the Professional Organisation of Stage Hypnotists, incorporating the Association of Professional Stage Hypnotists, POSH and APSH certificate, and say you're a member of them and use those winky wanky things. And trust me, they might sound winky wanky, and all the other respectable groups will slag me off, but I probably am contacted more often by licensed districts in England being asked if they should grant a licence to a hypnotist than fucking Fesh are. Regularly, there's a few venues that Adam Knight does, and the council districts there regularly ring me up as president of POSH, and he's put down he's a member of Fesh. Now there's a reason for this, because a few years back when all the street hypno fad took off with magicians for no apparent logical reason, let me tell you that, just let me throw this in, thank you, you remind me. You know, earlier in the day, I've taught you more than you realise, but earlier in the day I showed you that once you've used this trick of the foot being there, you can transfer it, ratchet it to other things, but you could keep that going with more stuff and practically do a full show with different people. What I did as the safety net was the Almond technique of saying to them, prove to yourself you've done it right. Well, you can say that for anything. So you can take the hand, put it against the wall and say on the count of 3, imagine as though your hand stuck to the wall, now just prove to yourself you've done it right. Just try and remove your... You can stick them to a chair. You can do whatever the fuck you want. If you add in that phrase, prove to yourself you've done it right. You can do an entire show that's more likely to work. I wouldn't do it for a full hour, to be honest. It will get a bit repetitive. But if you're booked to just do a variety slot, which I have been in the past, I got booked for Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I'm sure a certain person was delighted when they found that. I was booked for Blackpool Pleasure Beach in the, I've forgotten the name of the bar that's on the...
Horseshoe.
No, not the Horseshoe, the flagship. No, the bar that's actually on the Pleasure Beach.
The Star.
The Star, yeah. I was booked for in there when they had entertainment, but I only had 12, 15 minutes maximum. So I literally went on, did the old leg to the floor, moved it to the head, can't say the name, pleasure finger, and then did full body catalepsy at the end, which is in the download pack if you want to look into that. But as I say, don't do it, it's dangerous. Just because I do it doesn't mean you should. And also that's one of my unique selling points. It'd be better if other people don't do it. And that was me 15 minutes. Because to be honest, I wasn't that confident that I'd be able to get people under doing it the conventional way quick enough to make it work. So I thought, fuck it, I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to go on stage and do something that I know will fit in that time slot. And present it as though it's hypnosis, and therefore everyone perceived it as such, and I did get bookings off it. So it's adapting. Where was I? That reminded me of that. But prior to that, I segued off from what you asked me before?
It was about how to become a member of an organisation.
Do that. Health and safety. I've lost my thread.
Did they get in touch with you?
That guy.
Which guy?
You said they get in touch with you about...
Oh yes, sorry, yeah. And it was the street hypnotist. So I wrote to every licensed counselling officer in England, Wales, Scotland, everywhere. And there was something daft like 565 different offices. And I physically sent letters through the post and via email, so the silly fuckers couldn't say that they hadn't got it. And I've got all the responses, and all the responses I've got on file. And in this, obviously, I introduced myself as Dr. Jonathan Royal, President of the Professional Organisation of Stage Hypnotists, incorporating the Association of Professional Stage Hypnotists, representing our thousands of members worldwide. Which I genuinely have got thousands of members worldwide, because I can prove thousands of people have bought the transparency template and therefore are members. And they advertise it on their website if you do a Google search. And I'm including television names into this. Legally, I'm not allowed to say what their name is because that would be client confidentiality. But at the end of the day, if you search Professional Organisation of Stage Hypnotists, you'll see certain television hypnotists in certain places in the world will come up that are highly recognisable to you. That, did I teach them? Did I fuck? Have I helped them get cheap insurance because they needed a bit of paper? Yeah. But you can get the insurance, and 150 quid a year it'll cost you. Musiciansinsuranceservices.co.uk for stage stuff, therapy stuff, insurancefortherapists.co.uk is the one I use, or holistic insurance services. We'll just declare to them you might be doing group therapy sessions or demos, you know, to promote your practice, and they might just add it on for free, but at worst than we charge like another 10 quid a year. It's nothing for the tickets you can sell. So yeah, thank you, that put me back on track. And I got all these responses. So now they ring me up because some of them must have kept it on file. And you know what? I always say yes, grant the licence. It doesn't matter who it is I'm being asked about. I always say yes, grant the licence. And then I always send a message to the person that I've had to do it for. And they fucking hate saying thank you, certain of them, that will remain nameless. Yeah, go on, you're going to ask the guy. Vibed, you were about, no. Any more questions? Or is this like, it all made sense? Are we at the point? Oh, you're getting an early finish then, we're not quite 5 o'clock yet.
I want you to do the crossover thing again.
On you?
No, not on me, on somebody
Demo,
else.
fine, yep, excellent. Tony, we'll use you this time, because I used Martin last time, didn't I, for this one? You can feel what it feels like.
What were you doing what would you be doing with the client before you do the crossover? Like how would you end up in that situation with them?
Right. I might not have been doing anything before. That's a matter of personal choice. I may very well have had them do the eyes follow the thumb thing, so that they've got proof that they've gone further as the convincer. Or I might not, I might just go into this because they don't know they're going to be hypnotised, so therefore there's more of a pattern interrupt, there's more disorientation and confusion. So yeah, I may as well sit down for this, for now anyway. What I'd like you to do, Tony, okay, just take your left hand and place it out palm upwards, and your right hand, place that out palm downwards, roughly at about the same level. That is fantastic. And now just close your eyes. And just so long as you keep your eyes tightly closed at all times, then this will work fantastically well for you. And just so long as you use your powers of intelligence, imagination and concentration effectively, then so you can find that in a few moments as I count backwards from 3 down to 1, it's almost as if somebody has placed a big pile of leather-bound library books onto your left hand, and they're getting heavier and heavier with every breath you take, every noise you hear, every word I say, and every thought you think. And it's almost as though somebody's had a big bunch of bright red helium balloons to the middle finger of your right hand, and they're starting to rise up into the air, lighter than air. And as the balloons rise into the air, so the leather-bound library books sink down towards the floor. As on 3, the deeper you go, the better you feel, and the better you feel, the deeper you go. 2, with every breath that you take, every noise that you hear, and every word that I say, merely serving as a sign and a signal to help you relax more completely. And on 1, realising now that in a few moments' time I'm going to tap you gently on the back of the hands. When I do, it will not bother you, worry you, or concern you in any way, and just so long as you keep your eyes tightly closed at all times, then this will be fantastic for you as you relax more with each second that passes by, and just sleep, 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 sleep. Deeper, drifting down, sinking down. Drifting down, sinking down. The deeper you go, the better you feel, and whatever other waffle. But for now, wake your eyes and shine. Back with us?
Yeah.
How's that feel? It's a bit...
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird is the only way I can describe it.
There's so much going on.
You can't focus on any one thing because there's too many things at once.
So you can see the logic that someone who doesn't know that all this stuff's about to happen, they're going to find it even weirder because they don't know, they can't anticipate it, they can't rationalise it, and it's because of that it's even more amplified. So the logic is, the only logical conclusion they could come to explain it, because we like to rationalise things, is that this must be the weird feeling of being hypnotised. And the moment they say that to themselves, then arguably you have bypassed the critical faculty of the brain, if you believe in that construct, and you have arguably therefore hypnotised them. At the very least, you've convinced them they felt the magic that they believe hypnosis to be, so they can buy into it, and that gives them a perfect permission to change in the therapy context, without that baggage that we spoke about, or in the entertainment context to do daft things without any blame on them. So you can keep your eyes open this time, Tony, but just go back into the light and heavy hands position. Left hand, letter L, library books, letter L, leather bound, letter L, that are going to go lower, letter L. Right hand, R for right, R for red, helium balloons rising up into the air. That's how I remember it. They start off roughly the same level. Obviously you can't, if you've got a full line of people on stage, you might walk up and down, but generally it's more when it's one-to-one that I actually go heavier and tap it down slightly, and lighter, just so that it looks visual. It's more for the audience's benefit, because they're never going to see it. The truth be known, if the hand stayed like that, it doesn't matter one iota when you come to do the switch around, because you're still going to push one upwards, one downwards, and still pull this across and then slightly forward. You're going to do exactly the same thing. Admittedly, when there is a bit of a gap, it does feel a bit more like, to them, physically, that there's more actually taken place. But it doesn't really matter, because their eyes are closed, they don't know. And the key is that you tell them that in a few moments' time I'm going to tap you on the back of the hands. When I do, it will not bother you, worry you, or concern you. And just so long as you keep your eyes tightly closed, in other words, keep them closed. Just so long as you keep your eyes tightly closed, this will be fantastic for you. And you come in, just go back into position next time. You come in, and it is, as I came round you felt how light it is. It is literally, I'm just touching the back of the hands, so that this one's being pushed down as that one's going up, hence it's called seesaw. This one will end up in their lap. This I will end up gently getting the wrist, so their elbow is now roughly coming in towards the body, and then gently forward as I pull them forward slightly and gently sway them like that. And there is, if you look at the, get ready for this, that's the seesaw induction. The imaginatively titled seesaw induction video shows you step by step in close up every physical action, where, well, first you see me doing it on Rob Temple, who came up with it, and then you see Rob Temple doing it on me, and then you see it being used in various scenarios. So you can step by step get a guinea pig and have a bit of a practice with it, so that you just, once you get that knack, and the key is, that's why I came round you before, the key is, don't go in and go, I'm going to touch you on the back of the hands and go in and go, no, they're going to go, what the but to the point that they're likely to open their eyes. It's the gentle, what the hell's going on, there's too much going on because their eyes are closed. It's all gentle and all different things going in different directions, all blended together. That's where the well, that's where the power of it comes. Thank you, Tom.
Cheers.
Any more questions? Anything? Requests for me to sing? No, don't. You'll regret it. No? Well, if that's actually made sense to you, and the pieces of the jigsaw now make more sense than they did this morning, which hopefully they do, then I suppose I'll end off by saying this, other than obviously thank you for coming, and anyone who would like to join me around the corner at the pub, we're at lunchtime, is more than welcome, because I'm not going anywhere. I'm in Chesterfield tonight, so if you want to hang around for a bit, pick my brains on anything else, by all means do. Your download links expire at midnight on Tuesday. That's for security purposes, just because it's the way the bloody merchant works, and it's the easiest way I can get the stuff to you is for you to download it. WinZip software is free to download off Google if you need it to open up the zip file, but do it on a computer. So I don't know. I think my missus said iPhones can open zip files. Well, can they? All right. Well, but Androids can't or something. Technology is above my head, but it's free to get on Google. Do download the stuff, obviously, before then, because hey, you may as well, whether you look at it or not, it's irrelevant. You may as well have it, but if you're going to do stage stuff, watch the health and safety stuff. And if you're going to use any form of rapid induction in therapy, to be honest with the seesaw, it's that gentle, they're sat in a chair, the health and safety is almost paying for attention for itself, because they're already sat down. But common sense, if they're in a neck brace, maybe you might not want to use that technique. And do it gently. It's not. People think rapid inductions are about suddenly going up to someone and assaulting them, getting them by the hand and going, "Sleep, you bastard, sleep!" And if you go on YouTube and type in rapid inductions, especially videos of American hypnotists, that is what they do. And they do beat them into submission. I kid you not. I can say it. It's on YouTube and it's my opinion, so it's not libel. If you search Tom Silver rapid inductions, you'll find him going up to someone and grabbing them by the hand, and it looks like he's about to rip his arm out of his socket. He goes, "Sleep!" And the person clearly hasn't gone under yet or closed their eyes, so he goes, "Sleep, sleep, sleep!" And he keeps, and he's like, so this poor guy thinks, will this never end? I know, if I just close my eyes, and he does, at which point, you know, he gets put into the chair, and the person says, no, it's not about that. And to be honest, I don't even think theatrically that looks particularly good. I think it looks like you're assaulting somebody. Yeah, so, indeed. Sorry, go on.
Are you sending a link for today as well?
Pardon?
Are you sending us a link about today, the video?
Yeah, oh yeah, but I won't be back home in Manchester till tomorrow afternoon, so I'll send the videos uploading to my private video account, so sometime on Monday. I don't have your email addresses. Martin, add them, so if you can give me your email addresses after, so I can, or add me on Facebook. If you add me on Facebook, it's facebook.com// Alex the Hypnotist.
Anyway, could have come after that. Alex there.
Exactly, but you know, keep you in suspense. Alex the Hypnotist, add me. I can just inbox you the links on Facebook. That way I'll automatically get a read receipt when you've seen them. There won't be any download deadline on them, because I'm just going to send you the links to the private videos direct, so you can watch them whenever you want, as often as you want. Yeah. So, yeah, where was our trail of thought? Pay attention to health and safety. Operate within the law. Entertainment-wise, the laws are all covered in transparency template. Therapy-wise, if you're doing therapy already and you don't know what the fucking laws are already, for fuck's sake, what you've been doing, I'm going to take it pretty much for granted that I'm covered from a trainer's duty of care point of view that you should know, but common sense, safety, chairs are stable, you know, all that kind of stuff, always video things, so you've got legal coverage, and other than that, the biggest thing to remember is you cannot fail, because whether it's in therapy, a group session, or a stage show, it's always framed so if it doesn't work or the outcome isn't achieved that you would have liked, it's never your fault. It's always perceived by the audience or the client as being their fault. So therefore, as you can never have the finger of failure pointed at you because you can't fail, you can automatically have more confidence in what you're doing, which is the key to it. Because at the end of the day, if you choose to accept what I've taught you today, and trust me, I promise you, it is exactly, pretty much, I've told you what I've built a 30-year career on and travelled the world and hypnotised celebrities and all this fucking egotistical nonsense that actually means nothing more than I struck it lucky and I promoted myself well. And it is as simple as that. As long as you believe it is and have the balls to do it. Will you die on your ass if you do a show? Not necessarily the first time. It might be the first time. I'll tell you what, you'll learn a lot by dying on your ass. In fact, you'll learn more by dying on your ass than you will with an easy show. I still die on my ass. Now and again. Will there be times you have a therapy client and it doesn't work for them? The truth of the matter is, if you're charging what your average job in hypnotherapist is, 40, 50, 60 quid an hour, yeah, highly likely. Because there's not enough financial buy-in. If you're charging a more sizable 250 quid and above sort of session fee, the commitment they're making, they're not likely to just come because the wife or husband said, why don't you try this? They're more likely to coming because they've decided somewhere internally that they want to make that change, but they don't want that shame, guilt, regret and all that. People going, why didn't you do it sooner? So they need you as the therapist to build the permission point for them. So hopefully if you've learned nothing else today, and I truly sincerely mean this, my entire career has been built on bullshit, because that's what it is, whether it's the therapist there, but it's powerful bullshit. And there's nothing wrong with saying what some therapists think is the nasty word, placebo. It's a wonderful bloody thing. If you go on Google and research, January this year, 2018, but in open label placebos for cancer patients, in January a clinical study was published that even when people know they're being given a sugar pill, it can help them recover more rapidly from the side effects of chemotherapy treatment and stuff. And that's when they know they're being given an essentially worthless pill. Just the ritual and the importance attached to it, the triggering of expectation and belief, is clinically proven to be enough to change people's lives. So don't feel bad about using the placebo. Embrace it. Just don't tell the client that's what you're doing. And with that thought, I'll see, hopefully, all of you again soon. Maybe sooner than later for some of you. You want to come to the pub. Thank you all for coming. If there's anyone here who will be so kind, if you feel that you're now confident enough to speak on camera, and you feel you won't mind just saying a few words like, you know what, if you want to learn the truth about rapid induction, go on this course type thing, to let other people know about it, I'd greatly appreciate that afterwards. I'll just get my mobile phone out. Thank you very much indeed for your time and attention. Thank you. Thank you. Turn that off.